A stolen Renaissance painting returns to Italy after 52 years. A stolen Renaissance masterpiece finds its way back to Italy after 52 long years. In a remarkable turn of events, a British woman has made the heartfelt decision to return a priceless Renaissance painting to the Italian museum from which it was taken in 1973. This exquisite canvas, showcasing a Madonna and Child by the 16th-century artist Antonio Solario, was officially handed over to the Civic Museum of Belluno during a touching ceremony held on July 21. Barbara de Dozsa, who inherited this artwork from her late ex-husband, had initially resisted the idea of returning it. Her legal claim to the painting was bolstered by the UK's Limitations Act of 1980, which allows individuals to retain ownership of stolen items if their acquisition was unrelated to the theft, provided 6 years have passed. However, after much contemplation and the persuasive encouragement from Christopher Marinello, an expert in art recovery, she ultimately chose to return the painting this month. This Madonna and Child is truly beautiful, and the museum in Belluno is a charming place that the local community takes great pride in, Marinello expressed. The act of theft is devastating, especially for a museum that serves to safeguard cultural heritage for both current and future generations. It represents a significant violation of trust. Marinello, the founder of Art Recovery International, has been dedicated to this case without charge, partly due to his familial ties to the Veneto region, which encompasses Belluno. He first reached out to de Dozsa a year ago, hoping to persuade her to set aside her legal rights in favor of a moral responsibility. Initially, she was skeptical, but over time, he earned her trust and explained the complexities involved in owning stolen art. Despite the fact that UK law favored her, the painting was still classified as stolen on the Interpol database, he clarified. This meant she could never take it into Europe, exhibit it, or sell it without the constant threat of seizure hanging over her. The Civic Museum of Belluno originally acquired the painting in 1872, and it was among several artworks that were stolen during a significant heist over 50 years ago. While many of the stolen pieces were recovered shortly after in Austria, Baron de Dozsa purchased the Solario painting in 1973 and brought it to his estate, East Barsham Manor, located in Norfolk, England, where it eventually passed to his ex-wife. The painting's existence came to the attention of experts associated with the Belluno Museum when Barbara de Dozsa attempted to auction it at a local house in 2017. They confirmed that the artwork was indeed the Solario piece that had been reported missing for decades by various authorities, including the Italian Carabinieri and Interpol. Although the auction did not proceed as planned, British police returned the painting to de Dozsa in 2020. Due to the disruptions caused by the pandemic, Italy had not provided adequate documentation to challenge her claim, which was supported by UK law. Ultimately, de Dozsa decided to return the Solario painting to Italy indefinitely, influenced by Marinello's passionate advocacy. He arranged for the art insurance company Arte Generali to cover all logistical expenses related to its return as a charitable contribution. A large gathering of officials and museum staff from Belluno attended the very emotional ceremony to witness the official return of the artwork. Bringing this painting back home meant a great deal to many people, Marinello remarked. I felt honored to play a small role in this significant moment. Antonio Solario, also known as Lo Zingaro, was active during the early 16th century. He received his training in Venice, close to Belluno, and is linked to the Venetian school, although he worked across Italy. His most renowned work, a series of frescoes illustrating the life of Saint Benedict, can still be found in Naples. Other pieces by Solario are housed in the Capodimonte Museum in Naples, the National Gallery in London, and the Bristol City Museum and Art Gallery. Stolen Renaissance painting returned to Italy, the Madonna and Child story. Imagine the shock of discovering that a priceless piece of art, missing for over 50 years, was actually hanging in your living room. That's exactly what happened when a Renaissance painting, stolen from an Italian museum in 1973, was returned to its rightful home after a British woman agreed to give it up. This wasn't just any artwork, it was a tempera painting on wood, attributed to the famous 16th-century artist Antonio Solario, known as the Madonna and Child. The painting had been taken during a daring heist from Belluno's Civic Museum, where it was part of the permanent collection. For decades, it remained hidden from the world until 2017, when Barbara de Dozsa, a British resident based in Norfolk, attempted to sell it at auction. Little did she know, the painting was listed in the Italian Carabinieri's database of stolen artworks. The sale was blocked, and what followed was a lengthy and complex negotiation process to return the painting to Italy. The woman, who had inherited the painting from her late husband, initially refused to return it, citing the UK's Limitation Act, which prevents legal claims after a certain period. But here's where it gets controversial. Christopher Marinello, an Italian-American lawyer and CEO of Art Recovery International, stepped in to mediate. Marinello, whose ancestors hail from the Veneto region where Belluno is located, took on the case pro bono, determined to bring the painting back to its rightful place. He worked tirelessly, negotiating with de Dozsa and navigating the UK's reluctance to seize the painting. Marinello explained, "It took negotiation, and negotiation is really not what law enforcement does." He convinced de Dozsa that retaining the painting was a legal liability, pointing out the risks and costs of trying to sell it again. The painting was eventually returned to Italy in a formal ceremony, with transport costs covered by a generous donation from Generali's art branch. Carlo Cavalli, the curator of Belluno's Civic Museum, described Marinello's role as decisive. However, the painting's journey wasn't over yet. Marco Pereil, a Belluno city councillor and former vice-mayor for culture, explained that the recovery was delayed by COVID-related bureaucratic backlogs and the post-Brexit removal of EU cultural property restitution laws. Now, the painting is on public display at the museum, where it will remain until July 27, before undergoing much-needed restoration. The painting's panels have warped and the paint has flaked due to absorbed humidity. But soon, it will be back in its rightful place, joining two other Madonnas by Bartolomeo Montagna that were also stolen in the 1973 heist but later recovered. This story raises thought-provoking questions about the complexities of art restitution, the role of law in cultural heritage, and the ethical considerations surrounding stolen art. What do you think? Should there be stricter international laws for art restitution? Or is it up to individuals to do the right thing? Share your thoughts in the comments below.